Welcome back, my dear students. So now in this video, we're going to be understanding the basics of the page builder that we are using. Now, when you start, or basically when you take a look at your Elementor by just clicking Edit with Elementor and going into the Edit with Elementor page, you can see that Elementor itself is quite confusing. All right, because there are the widgets, but we don't know like what are the main and the basic things you do with Elementor. So let's just uncheck this Pro right here and let's close this tab, and you can see there are a lot of widgets right here. But when you try to add this heading and when you drop it right here, there are three things that are automatically added here. This is the blue line that's coming. Then we have this, that is the gray line that's coming. And then we have this, that is actually the pencil right here, and this is actually the element itself. Now, what are these things? So let's just go ahead and let's understand them and let's take a look at it. Now, there are three things that you need to cover: sections, columns, and elements. All right, let's take a look at it. So this is basically the basic boilerplate of Elementor. And we have this section, the column, and then we have the element. So when you drag an element from right there, let's just click on this right here, and you can see we have got all the items that we have. So when you drag any element into this right here that says drag widget here, there are three things that are automatically created: this blue line, this, and then we have this pencil one. This is right here. And this blue line is actually the element, and then we have this column, and then we have this element right here. So this is the section, this is the column, and then we have this element. Let's take a look at this diagram. Now this blue line represents the section, and the S represents that. Then we have this maroon one that represents the column, and then we have this E that represents the element, which is right here. Now you can go ahead, and when you automatically add an element, these two are automatically created. And why are they created is because they help you design your particular website. So basically, when we will be designing, we will be applying the background images. So background images are usually added into these sections. Similarly, when we want to add two things, like one thing here and the other thing here, then for that, the columns are used. And the elements, you know that, like whatever the element that you pick from here, that will be added over here. So these are the main things that works like that. Now, an element can be added, like you can add multiple elements inside this column. So when you want to add any element, then you basically have to create a section, and then you have to create a column, and then you can add elements in it. Let's take a look at it. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this cross over here, and here it says the plus. So when you click on the plus right here, a section is basically created by the default in the backend. Now it will tell you select your structure. So you can select your single column structure, and you can see that now this is created by the default. Now here you can add multiple elements inside it. So let's just go ahead and let's drag this heading over here and let's drop it. Now you can see this heading is here. Similarly, I want to add another element. I will click on here, and I want to add a text editor over here. I will drag this and I will drop it here, and here is a text editor that's been coming. Now what is the layout of this particular one? If you just click on it and we just bring your mouse here, now you can see this is a section. Inside this section we have a column, and inside this column we have an element, and then we have another element over here. Let's suppose that you also want a button. You can drag this button and you can drop it here, and you can see that we have the section, we have the column, then we have element, element, and element. Similarly, now let's suppose that we want to add any other thing, like we want to add an icon over here. We will drag this icon and we can drop it either here, in between an element, or like at the top of the element right here. So it totally depends upon you how you want to add some things on your particular website. Now, here are a few things that I want to tell you. If you go ahead and you take a look at this thing, now in the section, you can go ahead and you can create a column. And inside the columns, you can add multiple elements, unlimited elements. But these elements can be stacked over one another. Like this element, like you can add multiple elements and they can come either at the top, either in between, or either at the bottom. You cannot place the elements side by side. Like we want this heading over here, and then we want another heading over here. Can you do that? You cannot do that in a single column. For that particular thing, you have to create another column right here so that you can add multiple things in there. Let's take a look at this thing. Let's suppose that you want to build something like this. Then you want to create a section, and then you need two columns. In the first column, you can add an image or any type of elements there. In the second column, you can add the text in there. So let's take a look at it. Now let's suppose that we want to add an image right here. We cannot add it. When we will bring it here, you can see it either tells us to either add it at the top, at the bottom of any element, or at the bottom of the section, or at the bottom of the column. You cannot add it over here. So when you want to add an image right here, then what you will do is that you will right click on this column, and here it says add new column. All right, you want to bring your mouse to this. Here is this icon that's coming. That is actually a column icon. And when you right click on it, here it says add new column. When you click on it, here is a column that is created by the default, and now you can go ahead and you can drag the image right here. And this is the image that's been added. Now let's suppose that we want it this way, like we want this column to be here and the image and the text to be here. So can we do that? Yes, we can do that. You just need to bring your mouse to this, and then you have to just like left click and hold it. All right, and now you can drag it and you can drop it here, and it is actually added over here. So that's how easy it is to work with the columns. Now, one thing that I want to tell you again, elements can be stacked over one another. When you want to add elements side by side, you have to use columns. Now, let's just go ahead and let's talk about the section. So, elements can be stacked over one another. Columns can come horizontally, like one column should be here and the other column will be here. Like you cannot place a column right after there. Let's talk about the section. So section can be like this. When you want to add another section, that section will be placed right at the end. So let's suppose this is our first section. Then when you want to create another section, you can go ahead and you can do that right here. Let's take a look at it. Let's suppose that I want to add another section, and inside that section, I want to add a heading that says, welcome to my website. What I would do is that I would like to create this, and then I will add this column here. Now this section and one single column is created. Now what I will do is that I will click on this gear or the grid icon over here, and now I can bring this heading and I can drop it here on this column that is inside my section. And now what I will do is that I will change this to welcome to my website. Now there are some things like you can style it, you can change your color, you can work with the typography, and much things that you can do. But we will be talking about these things later on in the next video. This video is all about understanding sections, columns, and elements. Now what we will do is that we will align this to center, and you can see this is right here. Now what I can do is that I can bring this particular section by just bringing my mouse to this, and it says edit section. I'm going to just press the left key, and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to drag this above here, and this is added here. Now if I will click on this arrow right here, now you can see this is how my website is looking. It says welcome to my website. This is the image, icon, and this is right here. Now this is a full section with a one single column. Now this is a section with two columns in it. One have one element and the other has 1, 2, 3, and 4 elements. This is how you can go ahead and you can do that. Similarly, for the columns, you can create columns like that. And columns can be created horizontally. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at it. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this arrow button over here that's going to open up my editor. And now what I do is that I just go ahead and I just click on this right here that's going to create a section. Now I will add a single column in it. And you can see that my one single column is created. Now let's suppose that I want to add another column in it. I will right click on it and I will click add new column. Now you can see that two columns are here. Similarly, I want to add another column. I will right click on it and I will click add new column, and I have got 3 columns. And now I just click add new column and I've got 4 columns. What if I want this column to be right down below? I cannot do that. So if I want to add a column right here like this, I cannot do that. And in here, you can go ahead and you can add particularly anything. Like in here, you can add a button. In here, you can add another button. In here, you can add another button. And in here, you can add another button. All right. So you can see that this is how it's looking. But if I want to bring this column right here at the downwards, or let's suppose that there is also like a counter here. All right. And let's drag the counter over here as well. And let's drag a counter over here as well at the top. And let's add a counter here as well. So let's suppose that I want to bring this column right here down below. Or I want to get this type of things, all right? Like 3 columns here and 3 columns here. Can I do that? Think of it. How can I do that? Yes, you can do that, but for that, what you need to do is to create a section, add 3 columns in it, add another section, and add 3 columns in it. So let's just go ahead and let's do that. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a section right here, and I will be adding like a single column over here. Now you can see this is added. Now what I can do is that I can add 3 columns. And this is right here. Or let's add 4 columns in it. Now what I will do is that I will copy this element. I will come up here. I will paste it. I will come up here. I will paste it. I will come up here. I will paste it. And I will come up here and I will paste it. And now I will copy this button. I will come up here. I will paste it. I will come up here. I will paste it. And I'll do the same for this. Now you can see that I am getting this particular thing, that I have this particular section and I have added 2 sections with the number of columns like that. So this is how you can do that. Similarly, there is another thing that you can do. Like let's suppose that you want to create a one single section only. Like let's suppose that you need a background image. You need to upload a background image. So let me show you how to upload a background image. Then later on in the next video, we will understand it much better. What I will do is that I will right click on it. I will click edit section. And now what I will do is that I will go into the style. I will go to the classic and I will choose an image right here. And I just choose any of the image. So let's suppose that I want to use this image. All right. I will just go ahead and I will click on insert media. And you can see that this is the image that has been added. Now you can see that this is the image. This is added over here only. So let's suppose that I want to use this image over here. Then I have to apply the styling of this image to this as well. And this is going to create conflictions. So let's suppose that I want to create only one single section that contains a column. And then I can add 3 columns in it. How can I do that? Yes, you can do that. Let me just go ahead and let me delete this image and let me add a color over here, this color over here. All right. Now you can see this is a section. So now what I want to do is that I will add a section, then I will add a column in it. So let's do that. I will add a section. Now I will add a column in it, and this is the column that has been added. Now what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will click on this right here, and now we will add an inner section. So inner section, what it does is that it lets you create multiple columns right there. So let's suppose that I want to add 3 columns in here. Now 3 columns are created in here, and what I will do is that I will go ahead and I will copy this inner section and I will paste it in here in this main column. And now you can see that I have 2 inner sections coming up right here. So now what I can do is that I can drag this over here, I can drag this over here, and I can drag this over here. All right. And now I can drag this button over here, and I can drag this button over here, and I can drag this button over here. Then I can add this element over here, this element over here, and this element over here. Similarly, this button, let's just drag it and let's drop it here, and let's just drag it and let's drop it here, let's just drag it and let's drop it here. Now you can see how this is looking. So if we take a look at this particular this particular diagrams right here, now you can see I had to create 2 sections for this. So what I will do is that I will go ahead and I will delete this, and now I have created only 1 single section. Then I have added a column, and then inside that I have added an inner section that's coming right here. So what does the inner section do? Inner section lets you create a section inside a column, and you can add multiple inner sections in it. So now if I will go ahead and I will click on edit section, and now I go into the style, and now I go to the classic, and now I select the color, then that is being applied to both of the sections, the inner sections right here, because our main section is holding that. That's how easy it is to actually work with. Now, if there are any confusions for you, I would recommend you to go ahead and rewatch this video. Let's just go ahead and let's take an overview of what we did. We first understood the basic boilerplate of Elementor. We understood that the sections and columns are there by the default when you add an element. And when you click on the plus button over here, a section is created, and now you can add a column in it. Now inside a column, you can add multiple elements, but the elements can be stacked over one another. If you want to add an element side by side like this, you have to add 2 columns in it, and columns can be added only horizontally. You can add multiple columns like that. Similarly, the sections, you can create as many sections as you want, and you can drag any section above a section, and right there in a single section you can add a single column, and in another section you can add multiple columns like that. So elements can be stacked over one another, sections can be stacked over one another, but columns can be stacked right or left, like side by side. These are the things. Keep these things in mind and it will be very much clear for you. Elements can be stacked over one another. Sections can be stacked over one another. The columns can only be stacked side by side. If you want to add 3 more columns, if you want to basically achieve this look, right? Inside a single section, you want to add a column side by side as well and up down as well. Then you have 2 options. Either you can create 2 sections and then add 3 columns in it, or you can create a section. Inside that column, you can add multiple inner sections right here, and you can add as many inner sections as you want. So let's suppose that I want to add another inner section. I will right click on it, and here it says duplicate. I will just duplicate it, and it's going to add another intersection. It's going to just copy this intersection and it's going to paste it. Now you can see I have three intersections. This, and then this that's coming at the top. And I can add as many intersections as I want, and they are all going to be added using a single main section that has been added. Now this was all for the basic structure of Elementor. Now if there were any confusing, just go and rewatch the video and it will really help you a lot. Now in the next video, we will be working up with the styling, the usage, like what are the usage of that, and we're going to be taking a look at like a lot of things. Then you will be able to understand Elementor much better. So stay tuned, and in the next video, we will be going ahead and we will be working up with that. Stay tuned, and bye-bye.